Hi, this is Kirk Woodruff, and this is my language culture contact presentation. So, for the first hour, I listened to Spanish radio. Um, I have about a 10 to 15 minute drive each way to work. And so during those times, I listened to Spanish radio. The two stations that I would listen to is 100.3 and 103.5. Um, and some of the terminology or things that I learned or picked up on while listening to those stations, I think a few of them are slang terms, but one of them was no manches, which is like the same as saying like no way. Another one, dimension, and another one, orale, so like right on. Again, I think is could be slang. And so listening to those two stations, there's definitely a difference. The 100.3 station is a more contemporary or Spanish pop, where there's I would say more popular, well-known artists like in Enrique Iglesias or Shakira. Some other ones that are popular in Mexico, Mana. And the 103.5 is, I would say, the more traditional Spanish music, which is also known as La Banda. And so that station I consider to be like the country station of Mexican music or Spanish music. It's the music that you typically hear with like the big tubas and violins or cellos and very kind of up and down beats, very very distinguishable. Some of the nuances that I found while listening, or that I've noticed while listening to those different stations, were it was just that the difference in the kind of more pop Spanish and then also the traditional Spanish. But then also when you listen to different artists, you can definitely tell accents. For example, Enrique Iglesias has a very distinct Spanish or Spain accent, whereas a lot of his R's sound like the, and so that's very distinguishable. And so, yeah, that was the first hour of cultural contact is Spanish radio. The second hour that I did was patient coordination. So for work, I work for the A.T. Still University, and specifically the dental school of A.T. Still, which is here in Mesa. And I work for a clinic that is known as DORA, Dental Outreach for Rural Arizona. And we're a mobile clinic, and so we move our clinic a few times throughout the week, and we see the underprivileged population. And so my job is patient coordination. So I spend a lot of time on the phone talking to patients, scheduling their appointments and answering questions that they may have about upcoming procedures, getting them directions, and also any type of payment or finance questions that they may have. And our patient base is, I'd say, just about 50% Hispanic. And so I spend a good amount of time speaking Spanish over the phone to these patients and getting them the information that they need. One of the things that I learned terminology wise was fíjate, which is like the same as like check it out or like pay attention to this, or so that was one of the things. Some of the nuances that I kind of realized or saw was it seems that Hispanic families tend to live or don't move out of their homes. So As kids, here in the U.S., typically when you turn 18, anywhere from 18 to 20, most kids are moving out, kind of doing their own thing. But in my experience, from what I've found, is these families typically continue to all live in the same house. So even though maybe a son has 25 and married, he's still living in the same house as his parents sometimes. And that's just kind of one of the things that I've noticed about, I'd say maybe the Spanish culture. It's not true for every family, but enough where I've noticed it. And so that's kind of one of the things that I noticed. Now, the last 2 hours, I did a lot more hours than this, but I counted as dental assisting. So a part of that clinic, beyond just patient coordination, I also assist chairside. So I assist fourth-year dental students and also the doctors in these clinics with their patients. And because we do have a good amount of our patient base that is Spanish speakers, I'm able to help out a lot with translation, because a lot of the students and not all the doctors speak Spanish. And so I'm able to help in that regards to talking to patients, let them know what's going on. And, some of the things that I've noticed is, people are much more comfortable when they can actually understand somebody that's speaking their language, telling them what's going to be happening, what to expect. They're much more calm and happier that way. Some of the nuances that I found through this aspect is, a lot of people love to talk about their heritage. So where they come from, what kind of food and that their countries have, and they definitely, people from other countries love talking about where they come from and those types of things. And it's a great talking point. They're very proud to be where they're from. Additionally, they're also very grateful for people here in the U.S. that don't necessarily have to, but go out of their way to learn the Spanish language to better communicate with that population. A lot of people that I talk to, I'm a pretty white, blonde hair, blue eyes, and I have someone that comes into our clinic, and I start speaking Spanish to them, and they're a little bit taken back, but they're very appreciative because it, helps them out a lot to really understand what's going on, and helps them feel a lot more comfortable with the whole situation being in the clinic. So in conclusion, those were the three things that I did. I did an hour of Spanish radio, listening to those two different stations, and the Spanish pop, but also the traditional Spanish La Banda music. And also the patient coordination, talking to the patients on the phone, making sure they know when their appointment is, making sure they have directions to the appointment, answering any of their questions they may have about upcoming procedures, and then also the dental assisting. So assisting chairsides, assisting the fourth-year dental students or the doctors, helping translate, and talking to the patients about what to expect during the procedure, and answering any of their questions after procedures are done. So this is my language culture contact presentation. Thanks.